Hi, today I want to tell you a secret about losing weight in a way that you can maintain forever, without that up and down on the scale that we call the yo-yo effect. You know, when we want to lose weight, the idea is to expend more energy than we consume. But the problem is that many people manage to lose weight, and, after a few years, almost everything comes back again. Have you ever experienced this? Tell me in the comments. But don't worry, because it's not the end of the world. Today I'm going to show you 4 super simple changes that you can start making right now to make it easier to lose weight and keep it off for good. It's like magic tools that make your body happy and healthy. To start, let's ask a very important question. Are you hungry or just craving something? It sounds silly, but many people confuse them. Hunger is when your body is asking for real food because it needs energy. The urge to eat is when you feel the urge due to emotion. You're bored, sad, or even happy and want to eat something. Knowing the difference is the first step to truly having control over your diet. And when we learn this, the rest of the journey becomes much easier. When we feel truly hungry, it's because our body needs energy. At these times, the brain sends signals for us to seek food and get the nutrients we need. Your stomach may rumble, you may feel weak, dizzy, irritable, or even have difficulty concentrating if you go too long without eating. But there is another type of hunger, which is not about needing energy, but about wanting to feel pleasure. You know when you see chocolate, smell warm bread coming out of the oven, or remember that delicious food your grandmother used to make. Just that can make the brain send hunger signals, even if you've already eaten. This is what scientists call hedonic hunger, or, as we might call it, the urge to eat. This happens because, in the past, when food was hard to find, the body learned to take advantage of any opportunity to eat tasty, energy-rich foods. Conserving energy was a matter of survival. The problem is that today food is everywhere, but our brains still act as if we were in that savannah. In addition, stressful situations such as anxiety, overwork, arguments, or frustrations can also make this urge to eat appear, even without real hunger. Stress inhibits the region of the brain that helps us make rational decisions, the prefrontal cortex. The limbic system, linked to the pursuit of pleasure and immediate reward, takes over. The result, food starts to seem tastier, more comforting, and the urge to eat becomes harder to resist. This same mechanism comes into play when you go too long without eating. The stress of extreme hunger generates a neurochemical imbalance that decreases rational control and increases impulsivity. At that moment, your brain doesn't care if you're trying to lose weight. It wants to ensure you survive. In all these cases, you're probably not hungry, but even so, you eat quickly, more than you need, and often feel guilty afterward. The good news is that there are tools that can help you control this urge to eat. One of them is the hunger and satiety scale, which ranges from 1 to 10. 1 means you're almost fainting from hunger. 10 means you're completely full. If you're above level 6, it's probably not real hunger, but rather a desire to eat for pleasure or emotion. Another powerful technique is self-monitoring. Before eating, stop for a moment and think. Are there any negative feelings or thoughts that are making you eat now? Will eating really improve your situation? If the answer is yes, eat, but in moderation. If the answer is no, try doing something else to combat that impulse, such as calling a friend, drinking water, or going for a walk. If your goal is to truly lose weight, controlling your diet is the first step to avoid the yo-yo effect. But there's a habit I use a lot that's so powerful it deserves highlighting: reducing access to tempting foods. Everyone has that irresistible food that, if it's nearby, is impossible to resist. Even without being hungry, we end up eating it automatically. So, the tip is, keep these temptations out of reach, and you'll notice how much easier it is to control what you eat. It could be chocolate, ice cream, in my case, cheese bread. If it's on the table, I end up eating it without even realizing it. Even foods that everyone considers healthy, like fruits, can become a temptation and be harmful if consumed in excess. For your brain, these tempting foods are a pleasurable reward that requires little effort to obtain. So, how do you resist them? One of the most effective strategies is to change your food environment. If you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and tell me what your daily habits are like. If we assume that most of what we eat is impulsive, the solution is simple. Limit access. Don't buy. Many people think they can control themselves even by buying these temptations and hiding them in the cupboard. But it doesn't work that way. Your brain knows the food is there, even if you don't see it all the time. And just knowing it's nearby activates the reward system. The desire to eat increases, and self-control decreases. In other words, the more tempting foods you have around you, the harder it will be to resist. If you leave tempting foods at home, any sign of sadness or boredom can remind you of them and make you fall into temptation. But if you don't buy them, the simple effort of having to leave the house to get food becomes an obstacle to resisting the impulse. It's like when someone wants to stop drinking. You wouldn't leave a beer in the fridge, right? I know it's not always easy to get these products out of the house, especially if you live with other people. but they can even help you if you ask them to keep an eye on you. Another simple tip is to put notes on the cupboard or refrigerator door, reminding you of your weight loss goal. These little tricks act as obstacles that make you think before you eat impulsively. But what about when the problem is overeating outside the home? That's where a simple but powerful trick comes in: eating before leaving home. Look at the situation. You leave home to go to the doctor without eating anything, thinking it won't take long, but you end up waiting 3 hours and hunger strikes. The options around you aren't always healthy, and you end up grabbing that fried snack full of fat, simply because it was what was available. Or maybe you try to control your hunger so you don't spend money, but you can't resist, and, when the time comes, you eat a huge plate as if there were no tomorrow. Who hasn't been there, right? Or maybe it's a day when you've already planned to go out to dinner, and you spend the whole afternoon without eating to save your hunger, thinking you'll enjoy the all-you-can-eat meal to the fullest. Isn't that how it is? If your goal is to lose weight or maintain your ideal weight, these situations clearly don't help. There's that myth about intermittent fasting, which only works if you can control yourself when you eat. But if you can't, it won't help. Here's a powerful tip for eating well away from home. Eat a little before you go out. Anything light that lines your stomach is good. It could be a piece of fruit, a salad, or something quick that keeps you satisfied. It's also good to always have a healthy snack in your bag. Something practical that you can grab when you feel hungry, like fruits that will last you the day or a cereal bar. Now, if you already follow all these habits I've mentioned, but still haven't reached the body you want, there's a subtle detail that can make all the difference. Are you eating the right amount and in the right order? Imagine you're going to put together your plate with rice, potatoes, beans, a piece of meat, and salad. So far, everything seems fine, right? But not quite. Your weight loss depends on the quantity of each food group, the calorie content, and how these foods influence your feeling of satiety. Wow, Lord, lose weight. You want to control every detail of what I eat. Impossible. Calm down. It's simpler than it seems, and I'm sure you'll give me your like after these tips. The first step is to distribute the food groups well on the plate. Each person is different, but, in general, a healthy plate needs to be 50% vegetables, 25% protein, 25% carbohydrate. Remember, rice and potatoes are rich in carbohydrates, while meat and beans have plenty of protein. If you overdo it on all of them, the number of calories can exceed what you actually need. After watching this video, take a look at this other one I made, where I explain exactly how to distribute the types of food on your plate. And an important tip: proteins provide more satiety. So, in a weight loss diet, it's a good idea to reduce carbohydrates a little and increase protein. But be careful. Always consult a nutritionist to adjust exactly what is best for you. Now, there's something else that many people ignore: the order in which you eat food. Did you know that this makes a difference? Especially to avoid repeating the dish or snacking after the meal. When you have an empty stomach and eat carbohydrates first, they are digested quickly. Glucose, which is a type of sugar present in food, goes straight into the bloodstream, causing a glucose spike. This is bad for people with diabetes, but it also hinders those who want to lose weight. The problem is that, after this peak, comes a sharp drop. Then you feel that heavy sleepiness and enormous hunger, as if your body were saying, "The fuel's run out. Send more food." The strategy is to start with vegetables, which have a lot of fiber, few calories, and help slow down the digestion of carbohydrates. Then, it's the turn of proteins and fats, which take longer to digest. Only then do you move on to carbohydrates, which will now not be absorbed so quickly. Following this order, you ensure first the foods that will leave you more satiated, without exaggerating the calories, and with gradual digestion, avoiding that feeling of uncontrolled hunger after the meal. Following this order helps control the release of glucose into the bloodstream and increases the feeling of satiety while you eat. This means that you are less inclined to have seconds, feel less hungry afterward, and consequently, have less chance of snacking, which improves weight loss results. Oh, and this also applies to dessert. If you're going to eat something sweet, prefer to have it after a meal, and not in the afternoon on an empty stomach. See, these are simple, healthy habits, without radical changes, that improve your relationship with food and help you lose weight consistently. Many times we see diet as something restrictive and impossible to maintain, but a real diet is what you can maintain in the long term. And now I want to know from you, was this information useful? Do you already have any habits that make a difference in your daily life, and would you like to share them? If you also want to rethink the habit of using social media, there are interesting tips here on the channel. A big hug. Remember, the secret to healthy weight loss starts in the brain. And don't forget to subscribe to the Lord Lose Weight Channel 2. Continue learning about healthy habits and body science. See you later.